Good morning, Bear. Thursday morning. This is gonna be a vlog about my entire day from start to finish. It's 6 a.m. and I'm getting out of here, trying to get to school by 6:30. So I will see you in a little bit. Good morning. It's about 6:30 in the morning. I try to get to work about 6:30 every day so that I can get here early and I can get all my stuff done, and then I don't have to stay super late after school. So I try to get here as early as possible, get my things around, settled in, make sure I have all my copies set out, everything like that. And yeah, so here we are. So a quick time-saving tip on what I do in the morning is I actually eat breakfast in the car. It saves me so much time. I get here as early as I can to get things set up for the day. As soon as I get here, I set a timer for 10 minutes and see if I can get all my papers passed out, the desks put back, everything straightened up and ready to go in 10 minutes. So I'm gonna set my timer, I'm gonna get prepped for the day, and then I'll talk to you in a minute. Now, red team, they're not doing this morning work when everyone else is. They're going to be doing this morning work in the work box during guided reading, because during morning work time, red team is going to be on computers. Every single day, I alternate between red and yellow, yellow, red, having a computer turn in the morning. That's when they get their iRead computer turn, so they alternate with that. Okay. So, yeah, I project this, and then I can write on this from the whiteboard. I project it from my iPad. This is where I do my daily writing instruction. Right now, we are writing things that I like. They're going to copy those 2 words, and then they're going to fill the rest in on their own journal page. Okay, so I just set a timer for 10 minutes and I got everything physically set up for the day, everything put away, my desk cleared off and all that. The reason why I set my timer for 10 minutes is because it gets me focused in the morning and energized, and I'm focused for 10 straight minutes. I'm not wandering around. I've got my mind focused on one thing. So now that my first 10 minutes is over, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stuff the work boxes for guided reading. I'm going to check my emails, and I'm going to finish last finishing touches. Bonus, no Wi-Fi today, so I had to completely change some of my plans. The life of a teacher. Here's my workbox area and my guided reading and guided math stuff. So let's get it set up for the day. Let's consult the board of wonder. Here we go. Guided reading. So it is Thursday, and for guided reading, yellow team is going to be on iRead. So I will not be working with yellow team. I will be working with blue, green, blue, and red. So I'll change this, green, blue, and red. Now, I will check the work boxes and empty them. What I will do is I will take all their math work that they did, and I'm going to put it in their math folder so that I can check it later. This all goes in here, nice and neat. I, every single day, look at their independent work and during my prep time, and that gives me some feedback on where to go next with them. So I have a plan in place. I have an idea in mind for what we're doing today in math, but if something jumps out at me from their work, I will make adjustments as necessary. Now, before I send each group to their work box, I do have a conversation about with them and tell them what they're supposed to do. I explain each activity. That way they don't have any questions while I am trying to teach. That's like the key, is trying to get them to not have questions while I'm trying to teach. Everybody's doing cut and paste. I better make sure that everybody has scissors and glue. Otherwise, I'm going to be interrupted in my lesson. Now, what I like to do is we read a book together. Then we write about what we read. So they each have their journals. Oops. They each have their journals. Please. Officially all set up for the day. Looks like I'm going to be completely without Wi-Fi again today. I know, very frustrating. But we just got to keep rolling along. Nothing I can do about it, so I can't be upset. But now that everything is set up, again, I got here at about 6:30. The kids get here at 7:45. That's when I get them from the gym. So I get here super, super early, so that way I don't have to stay late. I set everything up. Now I'm ready to go. I'm going to sit down and enjoy my coffee, check my emails, and then the kids will be here before long. So I hate rushing around in the morning and feeling nervous and anxious in the morning. So that's another reason why I try and get here as early as possible. That way I have plenty of time and I'm not racing all over the place last minute trying to get things done. And then all of a sudden it's time to pick up the kids and I haven't used the bathroom yet. That's the worst. All right, I'm about to go get my kids. It's just about that time. So I've got a full morning planned. We've got our writing, we've got guided reading, we've got independent reading, we've got all sorts of stuff planned for this morning. So ready to have a great morning of learning and instruction. So I will update you at my lunch period and let you know how my morning went. And yeah, let's go. Okay, lunchtime, and this morning went okay. Anytime I don't have internet access, I can't use my laptops for a center, so had my kids read library books at that letters carpet behind me. And it was a bit noisy, you know, can't expect much different. They were reading, but they were getting kind of loud. But my small group lessons went really well. So when you're doing small group lessons, it's really easy to focus on what the other kids are doing that aren't in front of you. But it's important to remember that the most important instruction is taking place right in front of you. So if a kid's supposed to be reading, but they're goofing off, it's more important that you stay focused on your small group than immediately correcting that group that's goofing off. Now, you do correct them eventually, but don't sort of forget about the group in front of you and spend your whole time putting out small fires all around you if they're occurring. Focus on the small group in front of you and deal with the other groups when it's appropriate. For example, there was a group that was on the carpet there. They were being loud, and I waited until my small group in front of me at my reading table there was working on something independently to get up and go to address the situation. I didn't get up during instructional time because I didn't want to take that time from them. And then I actually had the group that was misbehaving apologize to the group that was at my table because they took the learning time from them. So, but I mean, it went well overall. Just a couple little mistakes like that, a couple little things. So during my lunchtime, I really don't have time to eat lunch. So I start to prep for the afternoon. We have 30 minutes of lunch. But really, by the time I get my kids to lunch and get back and go to the bathroom and everything, I really only have like 20 minutes to do that. So I'm going to set a timer, and I'm going to see how much I can get done before the timer goes off and before I have to go get my kids for recess. Boxes are cleaned out. Green team gets to do this during work box time because they they will be on computers when the other kids are doing this. I have a AM and a PM computer time, and every team gets to have a turn. In the PM, during our snack time, green and blue alternate every other day on computers, and in the morning, in the AM, right after breakfast, red and yellow, they alternate. That's their time. That way, every group reliably gets plenty of computer time throughout the week. And also, it's, 5 students or 6 students on technology. It clears some space for the other kids, and I can focus on less kids at a time. It makes it a little bit easier. So for their work box time, I am going to have the blue team. Copy the 100 chart into a blank 100 chart. If I can find them. yeah, it's just a good activity because it takes them a long time and they are engaged in it. Independent, well, workbox or independent work needs to be at their independent level, not necessarily their instructional level. So it has to be something that they can do 100% on their own without any questions at all. Otherwise, you're going to have interruptions or students giving up. I can't do it, that kind of thing. So make sure that they can do it. Also, during my prep time, I'm going to look at their work, and then that's going to inform my lesson for math. So that's sort of what I'm going to be doing during prep. Now that I'm mostly physically set up for the afternoon, for math anyhow, I'm going to dig deep into their, I guess, my data, their informal assessments, which are these, and inform my instruction on that. So that's that. All right, my lunchtime is over, and I didn't eat, so I'm going to eat some other time. I guess I'll eat during my prep, but I have to go get my kids for recess. I get we rotate, so there's 3 kindergarten teachers, and 2 of us go out for recess and monitor, and 1 stays in. So every 3rd day I get a day off. Today is not that day, so I have to go pick up the kids. I got my megaphone, and we're going to have a great recess. I have to watch them all, make sure they go down the slide. You know how it goes. So recess time is next. Then I'll come back and prep, show you what I do during prep. Just dropped my kids off at art, so now I've got 40 minutes to prep. Here's the first thing I do. Like always, I'm going to set a 10-minute timer. I am going to finish physically setting up, so that means like copies and materials set out, computers logged on, that sort of thing. So 10 minutes of physical setup, and then we're going to talk about the mental setup. So 10 minutes, let's go. 10 minutes, here we go. Okay, so last time I left off after lunch, we were stocking these work boxes. I'm trying to figure out what to do for Green Team's work box. I have decided that I'm going to have them rename the number in the work box. So let me just learn you something quick. Here's the paper that I use for it. Okay, so we have the number 6, 2 little boxes, and some lines. So here's what they have to do. Basically, they have to take a stack of 6 cubes and divide them up however they want. So right now we've got 4 over here and 2 over here. I teach them that all numbers can be broken down into smaller numbers. So 6 can be 4 and 2 more. And they have to write 4 plus 2. Then they switch it around. Okay. 6 can also be 3 plus 3. They'll write it down. And they do that until they find all the names for 6. Now, this is not the first exposure to this. This is like the end game. We don't even use numerals for the first couple weeks of renaming the number. We literally just use cubes and other manipulatives. So they're ready for the numerals, and they're ready for the writing of the numbers. We did this activity whole group yesterday, or no, sorry, not whole group. We did this activity in their small group yesterday, and they did really well on it. So they're ready to do this on their own. It's now at their independent level. So this will be in their workbox along with 6 cubes and their afternoon work. So they'll have plenty to keep them busy for the 20 minutes of instruction. So let's put these in there. 1 for you, 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 and the paper. Now, what's nice about having Green Team first is then before they go to the workbox, I can give them a real quick refresher on what their activity is. And that's also the problem with having Red Team go first, is I don't get a lot of time to explain to them what their workbox stuff is because I don't have them at my table with me. So that's why it's very important for Red Team that it's something that they can do completely 100% independent. So now that my work boxes are full, they're stocked with work for them to do, it's time for me to get my guided math materials ready. So let's see. With my Red Team yesterday, they had a lot of fun, and I did too. It was really fun. We actually played Candyland. I talked about this a little bit earlier this morning, but we are working on very basic skills: counting, color recognition, and subitizing. So that's what we're doing with this. Let me show you. Red Team's going to be playing Candyland, and when they, say for example, they get a red, and they have to move their character to the first red that they see, okay? I make them count the squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then they have to match it up to the numeral card that matches, and I have a little bit of a subitizing thing on the card too. So they're getting some good number identification and subitizing while also having a lot of fun playing Candyland. So this is what my red group is doing. So this brings me to a different point. For small group instruction, especially for math, use this as a time you can play fun games. You only have 4 to 6 students. You have time to play really fun games with them. So as long as you have a objective and an I can statement attached with it, you can play games from time to time, and it's a really good chance to build those relationships with those students. So red team is working on that. Now we just got to remember what blue and the green team are doing. So they're starting to move past those teen numbers, and we're going to work on something else. So now that physical preparation is done, it's time to do the mental prep. So what I got to do now is I have to look at their assessments from yesterday and see if I can follow the same trajectory for today or if I have to veer off the path. But first, let me show you what my plan is for my green and blue group. As you know, we've been working with teen numbers, identifying them and writing them and understanding them. So today we are going to use those base 10 blocks like we have been using, and we're going to break them down into 10s and further ones. So for example, 16 is the same as 10 plus 6, and we're going to build those numbers out with the 10s and 1s at our table here. We're going to do it together. It's a guided practice. We're going to keep on practicing it until they really understand it, and then eventually this will be independent work. But first they have to master it with me, and then they'll try it on their own another day. Also, a real quick tip about your small groups: always have some sort of do now at the very beginning of your small group lesson, something that you can have them get started on while you get all the other kids settled in. Because if you sit down right away and the other kids aren't settled in, and you try and start teaching, you're going to have kids that, their headphones got turned down, or the kid needs to do pencil. So have a small 2 to 5 minute activity at the beginning of your small group lesson that they can do on their own, so that way you can get everybody else settled in and then come back and start teaching. So I'm gonna have these scattered not in the right order across the table, and when the green team gets here, while I'm settling in everybody else, I'm gonna have them sort them in the right order, 11 to 20, and then when I get back, I'll start my lesson. So try and think of it could be tracing, it could be anything, but make sure it's independent. Start your lesson like that, you're gonna have some more success. Still no Wi-Fi. Still no Wi-Fi. As my prep finishes up, what I do is I do a quick mental check and make sure I have everything set out for all these following activities. So right now, we're in specials. I just set up for guided math. Do I have their snack set out? I do. Math video queued up? No, because we don't have Wi-Fi today, again. So I'm gonna throw on some PBS on the TV. Our snack time, we have a grant that allows us to have a healthy snack every day. 10 minutes, we watch 10 minutes of a math video usually, but I can't do that today. Then we're gonna count to 100. We're gonna use the old-fashioned 100 chart because we don't have the videos because of no Wi-Fi. And I got my afternoon work, drops in a bucket, set out and ready. Rename the number activity ready. And science, we're not doing science today, so everything is ready. Now I'm gonna sit down and enjoy my coffee. So I got 10 minutes left of my prep time, so I'm going to have myself a little bit of coffee and check my email. So with my email, if it's not something that needs to be taken care of today or incredibly important, I just sort of glance at it real quick and I will sort of decide when I'll take care of that thing. So we'll check and see. You can't do everything right now, and you can't let things overwhelm you. So if it's like, hey, this thing is due in 2 weeks, so don't get overwhelmed by it, I will say, all right, I'm gonna do it on this day, and I plan out when I'm gonna do it. That way future Kyle, future Mr.Thain can deal with it. So yeah, that's how I'm gonna do it. So let's check. Let's check. Probably a lot of junk email. You know how it is. Okay, yep, nothing new. So I got nothing to worry about there. In 10 minutes, gonna enjoy my coffee. Use a timer. Use a timer for yourself. Use it for your kids. Use it for yourself. Keep yourself on track, on time. We can get caught up sometimes chit-chatting with other teachers and so forth during our prep, and then we wonder where our prep went. So, sometimes you gotta be a bit antisocial if you want to get everything ready and done. So it is what it is, but I'm ready for the afternoon and I'm feeling pretty calm and fresh and clean. So yeah, I'll meet you guys later. I'll show you the rest later. So I just got out of a meeting I totally forgot about, but every other Thursday we have Building Leadership Team. The acronym is BLT, and no, we never get to eat BLTs. When I joined it, I misunderstood and thought that maybe one day there'd be a BLT involved. Update on the rest of my day after I was talking during my prep. My math lessons went really well today. All 3 groups did a really good job with their lesson, and the computers were up and running, so I didn't have any trouble with that, and my afternoon went as planned. So my green team did really well with that activity where they had to break down into 10s and further 1s. My blue team struggled a bit, which is all right. I'm going to just keep working on that. It is not going to be an independent activity for either group, though. They're not going to be able to do it on their own for a while. My red group, we were doing Candyland again, and they were doing really well with counting the squares and subitizing, so that was great. Yeah, so it went really well. But I feel like, so a lot of my vlogs and my videos, I'm very positive, and I try to maintain that vibe in the classroom as well. But let me tell you, it's not all rainbows and smiles all the time. Matter of fact, tomorrow we're going on a field trip. We are going, this is the first field trip of the year. We're going to a really awesome pumpkin patch, and I feel really bad, but one of my kids, I'm not letting him go. He had his permission slip, he paid the money, I gave the money back to his mom. He is not allowed to go on the trip. And I've never held a student back from a field trip before, but I mean, what do you do? Like, he completely acted a fool today. There's no other way to say it. He acted a fool. There's absolutely no other way to say it. So when you're dealing with when you're dealing with misbehavior, you gotta look, is it ignorance or is it defiance? That's the one distinction you have to make. For example, yesterday I had a girl who was not listening and she was acting out. She was acting out because she felt that the work that I gave her was too difficult, so she wasn't doing it. And so she wasn't doing it, so she was occupying her time other ways. She was getting out of her seat and talking to other people, and she scribbled on it. So that caused her to act out, and I got to the bottom of it, and the problem was fixed. That's ignorance. Or she didn't know what to do, so she felt like, that was ignorance. Defiance is when you know what you're doing is wrong, but you're doing it anyway. And I had a boy that was doing that today. He was making noises, he was bothering people, he would deliberately sit in someone else's seat. And the poor girl's seat that he sat in was standing right behind him saying, "Can you please move? Can you please move?" And he wouldn't move. So it's stuff like that that I have absolutely no tolerance for. And at the end of the day, I was struggling with it. But I decided, all my other kids saw him behave in that way. And if I still let him go, what type of message does that send my class? Oh, I can act like that and still get rewarded? So bottom line is, he's not going. I can't let a child act like that and go on a field trip. It'll send a terrible message. Okay, end of rant. End of rant. Bear, where are you? Bear, you're home. Yay. Did you have the best day ever? Home. Finally home, waiting on Kristen to return with our food for Game of Thrones night. So, I am going to prepare beverages. And on Game of Thrones night, it's important you don't do anything else but watch Game of Thrones. So, although my dad needs some help with something, so I'm gonna help him after we're done eating. But other than that, ain't nothing happening besides Game of Thrones and eating. This is like a therapy night. So Thursday night, after its long week, one quick recharge before Friday so you can end the week on a really positive note and then head yourself into the weekend. So that's why we do Game of Thrones night. on Thursday. Now, obviously, when we finish Game of Thrones, we'll start watching another show. So, yeah, also just it's becoming fall because now the sun is starting to set at an awkward time, so I have to close the blinds, which I hate doing. Otherwise I get that glare on the TV, but as fall is upon us, I mean, it's technically fall, but before long, it'll be dark by the time I get home, which is always splendid. So, we'll wait on Kristen to get home. Who is it, Bear? Bear, who is it? What you doing?
I'm gonna 20, but I don't have enough hands.
You don't? How many hands do you have?
2.
How many do you need?
4.
Bear heard you were rustling about and he alerted me that you were home.
How do you do such?
You just started going by the door. Did you have a great day?
I did have a good day.
No, I said did you have a great day?
It is about to become great. Can you hand me a napkin?
Yep.
Okay.
Alright, and a napkin. Doing my duties as a husband, girl. There you go. Okay, so where's that food?
Oh, I told you earlier. 2 hands. Go get it.
Okay. Doing my part, doing my part. Yeah, I'm doing my part. Oh. Whoa. Game of Thrones night. Like I said, we are Game of Thronesing. I'm jonesing for some Game of Thrones. Anyway, here's the food. Here's a TV. And this is where we're gonna be for quite a while. Right here and right here. This is my area, and this is her area. Now, when you're dating or maybe engaged, perhaps you would occupy the same couch. But we're married now, so we have our own couches because, let's be real, we need personal space, right? Am I right? So, anyways, Game of Thrones. And that is the life, a day in the life of my life. A day in the life of my life. Okay.
A day in the life of coffee.
A day in the life, it's a day in the life of Mr. Thain, start to finish. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the vlog. See you next time.